Welcome to The Explainer. Let me ask you something. When you think of America, what's the very first image that pops into your head? For most people around the world, it's going to be those iconic landmarks we see in every blockbuster movie. You picture the towering skyscrapers of New York City, or maybe the bustling streets of Los Angeles. But today, we're taking a detour. We're going to look at why the true heart of this country beats somewhere entirely different, and why small towns actually define America.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We really need to contrast this Hollywood illusion, the massive skyscrapers, the famous Hollywood sign, the blinding lights of Vegas, with a much different reality. Because the America that millions truly dream about, the one that really defines the nation's core, is tucked away in quiet streets. It's found in neighborly waves from the front porch and a much, much slower pace of life.
The crazy thing is, most tourists only ever experience a tiny fraction of the country. Every single year, millions of visitors touch down in places like Miami, San Francisco, or New York. They snap their photos of famous buildings, shop on the busy streets, and fly back home completely convinced they've seen America. But honestly, they've missed the real essence of the country entirely.
Now I want you to think about this staggering number, 19,000. That is the number of hidden towns and cities spread across America's mountains, deserts, forests, and farmlands. 19,000. These are the places that truly define America. Actually, many Americans living in these communities have never even set foot in New York or Hollywood. Their version of America is completely different. It's quieter, it's friendlier, and it's just incredibly beautiful.
Section 1, where everybody knows everyone. Picture this. Imagine walking into a local coffee shop on a crisp Tuesday morning. Before you even reach the counter, the owner smiles and already knows your exact morning order. And it's not just the coffee shop owner either. Teachers in these towns, they remember their former students decades after graduation. The mail carrier recognizes literally every single family on the street. And this brilliantly illustrates how these small daily interactions form the very foundation of American tradition. It's a tight-knit reality that Hollywood rarely bothers to capture. But it goes so much deeper than just knowing someone's name. Let's say a family loses their home in a fire or faces a sudden medical crisis. The whole town steps up to raise money. They don't look the other way. Neighbors help each other out without expecting a single thing in return. This deep empathy is exactly why small towns define America. It's a profound, undeniable sense of community.
Moving on to Section 2, the heart of Main Street.
So, if the people are the soul of the community, Main Street is absolutely its historic heartbeat. It sits in stark contrast to those giant, impersonal shopping malls you'll find in big cities. Just think about this rich lineup of staples. You've got family-owned bakeries where the smell of fresh bread literally hits you in the street, small independent bookstores, old-fashioned diners serving up homemade pie, generational barbershops where all the town's news is traded, and local antique stores just filled with history. We're talking about vibrant, inviting streets lined with 100-year-old buildings that have stood the test of time.
And naturally, this builds a completely different visual landscape. While a typical big city is dominated by giant corporate billboards telling you what to buy, in small-town America, you swap those out for American flags hanging proudly outside local businesses. It's a landscape defined by deep local pride rather than corporate marketing.
And, when the holidays roll around, these main streets magically transform. Christmas lights decorate every single building. Families gather on the sidewalks for local parades, and you'll almost always see Santa Claus riding down the street on a polished, old-school fire truck. It's exactly these magical, community-focused moments that define the word home for so many Americans.
Section 3. Friday night means community.
Let's shift gears and talk about the excitement of the upcoming weekend. We're exploring what is essentially the civic religion of small-town America. Now, a big city Friday often means sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic just to get to a crowded, stressful restaurant or nightclub. But a small-town Friday, the entire town heads to one place, the local high school football stadium. You've got parents, grandparents, teachers, and local police officers all gathering together under the lights.
I want to let this quote sit with you for a second. It isn't about professional sports. It's about community. Think about that. The game itself is almost secondary. It's really about the tradition of friends reuniting after a busy, exhausting week. It's a shared ritual that just binds everyone together.
And the sensory experience is absolutely electric. You can hear the marching bands performing from blocks away, you've got cheerleaders energizing the massive crowd, and you see the local kids running around the bleachers, dreaming of the day they get to play under those exact same stadium lights.
And the beautiful thing about all of this, win or lose, this tradition continues year after year.
Section 4. Nature becomes everyday life.
When you finally leave the concrete jungles behind, you realize just how surprisingly close the natural world feels. Imagine replacing the sound of sirens and a view of a brick wall with this. Waking up to sweeping mountain views, rushing rivers, and endless pristine forests right outside your bedroom window. The environment isn't something you have to drive 3 hours in traffic to find. It is quite literally your backyard.
And because of this, wildlife isn't something people only see in a zoo. It's a daily part of life. It's completely normal to see deer walking right through neighborhoods or bald eagles soaring above the local rivers. And depending on the region you're in, people regularly spot elk, wild turkeys, and even black bears. All witnessed safely from a distance, of course.
Since nature is so accessible, weekends aren't spent trapped inside crowded shopping malls. Instead, families are hiking mountain trails, they're fishing in local lakes, camping out in those endless forests, or just simply watching the sunset on a quiet country road. It's a fundamentally calming, therapeutic way of life that constantly grounds you to the world around you.
So the crucial point is this. This slower pace allows people to reclaim the rarest commodity in the modern world, which is time. Step 1. They actually have time to enjoy their family. Step 2. They have time to appreciate nature. And step 3. They finally have time to simply slow down, breathe, and live in the moment.
Which brings us to our final question for today's explainer. Are you ready to leave the big city behind to discover hidden traditions, famous local diners, and small-town festivals? Because small towns don't just represent a dot on a map, they define the very soul of America. Next time, we're going to dive into those famous diners, the incredible local festivals, and uncover exactly why so many people are actively fleeing big cities for the quiet charm of small-town life.